Hello dear learners, I welcome you once again for yet another lecture series on design of welded plate girder without intermediate and bearing stiffeners. Previously I have discussed all the design related to reinforced cement concrete. From now on we will be discussing the design of steel structures regarding this subject. So our subject of interest is design of RCC and steel structures. Earlier part was reinforced cement concrete. Now we will be discussing the steel oriented design. I will be following the IS 800 codebook for the design of this structure. Now we will take a example and we will design that section. Design a plate girder of 20 meter span to support a uniformly distributed live load of 75 kN per meter over the span using the following data. Now we will be designing the welded plate girder. So what do you mean by a plate girder is, it is a member similar to beam in RCC structure. You can see there is a steel beam which is running across the piers. So this is pier 1 and this is pier 2. And above that you have a beam member. This member is called a plate girder. The load which is acting in the girders will be uniformly distributed load, or there might be, in some case there might be a concentrated load at a particular case. Here in this case you can see this is a bridge construction. So we very well know that in a bridge we will be having a uniformly distributed load. The live load is given here as 75 kilonewton per meter. So between this pier to pier there will be some distance. Let us assume this distance is known as a 20 meter span, and let us design a single girder. So you can see that this is an I section. This I section has to be designed. So the member has two components. One is the web component and another one is a flange component. The web component will be this part and the flange component will be the top and bottom, is known as the flange in a I section. We have to design the depth required. So this is the section which we are going to design. The welded plate girder could be designed by using other sections also. This is I section. The construction could be designed for built up section, angle section, C section. There are different types of steel cross section according to the type of load and according to the experience by the designer and the load flow. So there might be some load which is coming to the girder. So according to the type of load, the cross section could be designed. In this design we shall assume a I section as the cross section of the girder, and what we are now going to design is, we will be identifying the depth, at which depth this girder will be safely transferring the load to the pier. So definitely the moving loads such as car, two-wheeler and other heavy vehicles will be flying over through the bridge. So these loads will be transferred to each and every girder. So we have to first identify the load which is acting in a single girder, and then we will proceed for the design. Here majoritively the connection between two members will be a simply supported or pinned support. Okay, so at each and every pier this will be a simply supported case as far as this example is concerned, and let us design this. So the overall dimension and the grade of the steel is being designed. So for a design you very well know that first we have to identify a member, and for that member the loads are being arrived. Due to that load we will be having bending moment and shear force, and after arriving the shear force and bending moment we will be checking for the limitations given by the code. If it is safe for all the limitations and guidelines which is given in code, then our design is safe under working environment. Okay, so the data is in short given here. The effective span is 20 meter, that is support to support distance is 20 meter, and a distributed live load will be 70 kilonewton per meter. For each and every meter, the load will be distributed evenly for intensity of 70 kilonewton per meter, and the yield stress of the steel is considered as 250 Newton per mm square, and the top flange is restrained laterally. This is a condition which is also given. So with this given data, and let us design the cross sectional detail of the plate girder to conform to the specification of IS 800 2007. Yes, let us start the design. What is the load which is coming on the girder? So we know that a 70 kilonewton per meter is the live load which is acting, and for a span of 20. So we shall multiply this two component and we will be arriving it into a point load. So what is this 1.5 is? This is load factor. Code gives a load factor of 1.5. So we will be multiplying this. So the total load which is acting in the girder is 2100 kilonewton. Okay, let us assume a self weight of the member. This is due to the steel. So due to the density of the steel, we will be having a self weight. So let us identify the self weight. The total factored load is 2100 divided by 200. So if you divide this, you will be getting 10 kilonewton per meter. So this will be the self weight of the girder. And if you add that to the live load, so the total factored load will be 70 plus 10 is 80 kilonewton per meter. This is the factored load. Okay, next let us find the bending moment and shear force. I have earlier explained we will be considering the beam as a simply supported condition. For that condition, we know that the bending moment formula is WL square by 8. So W will be 80, which is the factored load, into L is 20 square divided by 8. So if you divide this and simplify, you will be getting 4000 kilonewton meter as the bending moment. And the design shear, what is VD is design shear and design moment. So for design consideration, let us find this shear force. So shear force formula is WL by 2. Hence W is 80 into length is 20 equals 800 kilonewton. So this is the shear which is acting. So due to the external load, there are two internal forces are acting. What are they? They are bending moment and shear force. So to withstand this two force, let us assume a section now. So, yes. For assuming a section, we have a economical depth formula or a relation. This is a relation D equals root of mk divided by fy. So to the power of 0.33. This is a formula. If you follow this relation, we will be having a economical section. Okay, what is the m here is the design moment. We already arrived, and k factor, which will be d by t less than or equal to 200 to the epsilon. So here we should find the constant epsilon. What is that? So in code, this relation is given 250 divided by 250 will be 1. So we found that according to this relation, 200 epsilon is 1. So we found that the k is also 200. If you substitute this 200 into 1, so the k value will be 200 here. So if you substitute Fy is 250 and the moment is 4000 kilonewton meter, and we are substituting everything in terms of Newton mm. So m will be 4000 kilonewton meter. For converting into Newton mm, we are multiplying 10 power 6 into 200. K is 200. If you simplify this, you will be getting 1500 mm. So this is the depth which is required. The web should be designed. The overall depth of the I section will be 1500 mm. Okay. What about the flange plates? So the I section consists of web and flanges. So let us assume a 40 mm flange plates, and we will be having two flanges for the I section. So 40 into 2 is 80. So the depth of web will be D equal to 1500 minus 80 will be 1420 mm. So in a picture you will be getting this. So right now we have designed the depth of the section which is 1500, which is the economical depth. So we will go for this. And we have assumed a 40 mm plate. This is a flange plate which is a 40 mm flange plate is assumed. And if you subtract 40 plus 40 both the flange plate, so the web section will be having a depth of 1420. So right now we have identified the depth of each element. Okay, let us go for the next check. In IS 800 there is a ratio for serviceability condition. So for serviceability criteria, the ratio of depth by thickness at web. In order to find the thickness of the web, let us substitute the components here in order to find the thickness of the web. So we know the depth of the web is 1420 and we need thickness of the web. If you cross multiply this, you will be getting D by 200, that is 1420 divided by 200, we will be getting 7.1 mm as the thickness of the web. Okay, the thickness of the web should be greater than this. So the value what we got is 7.1 mm. So the web should be more than this. This is for serviceability criteria. Okay. Again there is a condition for shear buckling consideration in IS 800. So I will mention the class in further. So for this condition, the depth by thickness of web ratio should be greater than 67 times this epsilon. So we know that this ratio is 1. So if you need thickness at web, you can cross multiply, and 1420 divided by 67 will be 21.2 mm. So we can adopt 20 mm thickness for the web. And what about the flange? So the width of the flange has to be identified. So there is a thumb rule. The width of the flange should be approximately 0.2 to 0.3 times the depth. So what is our depth is 1420, and if 0.2 times we are assuming, it will be 288 mm, and if 0.3 times it will be 426 mm. So in between this we can take the breadth of the flange as 350 mm. Okay, now what we have done is we know the depth of the web and the thickness, and also we have identified the flange width and flange thickness. So now the dimension and geometric property is designed. So earlier I said that there was a ratio for shear buckling consideration. In IS 800 class 8.4.2 resistance to shear buckling, the structure depth by thickness should be greater than 67 epsilon for a web without stiffeners. So right now our design aim is to design a girder without the stiffeners. So if you are designing with web stiffeners, you can go for this condition. Henceforth we are going for the above condition. The next condition is design of plate girders and design of beams and plate girders with solid webs. Right now we are designing the solid web section. The web section doesn't have any voids. So that is why for serviceability requirement, the code in 8.6.1.1 the serviceability requirement is given, that is d by tw should be lesser than 200 epsilon, the web connected to the flanges along both longitudinal edges. So this is the condition. So if the condition is web connected to the flange along with one longitudinal edges only, so we are having both longitudinal edges, the flanges are connected, hence we are going for this condition. By using these two classes, we have arrived the earlier thickness of the web. So you can see this, we have considered only two conditions, the serviceability criteria and shear buckling condition. By this thickness assumption, we have arrived a thickness of the web plate. Okay. So let us go for the next condition. So we are having another ratio for plastic and compact section. This is a condition. There is a tabular column for this. I will show it here. In IS 800, the table 2 indicates that limiting width to thickness ratio. If you are designing any section, the width of the section to the thickness ratio should follow this tabular column. Right now we are designing a welded section. Our section will be a welded section. There are different conditions for each and every section. Right now we are, if you go for web of an I, H or box section, you can go for this condition, and for web of channel, you are using a channel section, then depth to thickness ratio you can follow for this condition. Right now our condition is for a welded section, the ratio of breadth to thickness should be, there are three classes, that is plastic, compact and semi-compact section. So according to our design consideration, we can go for this. So in this case, we will be going in between plastic to compact stage. If you assume that the range is 8.4 epsilon to 9.4 epsilon. Okay, let us take this condition, that is 8.4 epsilon to 9.4 epsilon. That is, we already know that epsilon is equals 1 for Fy 250 Newton per mm square. So breadth of flange by thickness of the flange. Now we know the breadth of flange is 350 and thickness of flange is 40. So if you divide this, you will be getting 8.7. So the range is between 8.4 and 9.4. Hence this ratio satisfies the plastic section requirement. Now we are checking for the shear carrying capacity of the section, which we have arrived right now. For checking the shear capacity of the section, the code gives a suggestion. In 8.4.1, the nominal plastic shear resistance under pure shear is given here. So N is nominal shear, and let us take this nominal shear. The formula will be shear area. So this is shear area, and the yield strength of the section, particularly in web section, divided by root 3. We know that area of shear will be, the next class is given here. The area of shear may be calculated as given below for I and channel section. Right now we are designing I section. Now we are designing a welded section. Hence we can take depth by thickness of the web is the AV. So TW. We know that instead of AV we can substitute D by TW. Okay. This is the another condition for shear. This is 8.4. The factored design shear force, that is V, in a beam due to external force shall satisfy. That is, V is the shear force which is acting due to the load, and for design shear, VD is design shear. Always your section should be capable of carrying the shear force which is acted by the load. So your section shear carrying capacity should be equal or more than the shear which is acting due to the load. Hence, the design shear should be, VD should be Vn divided by gamma MO. So what do you mean by gamma MO is the partial safety factor against the shear failure. So I have given you the gamma MW. So this is the tabular column. In the table 5, gamma M is given. This is partial safety factor for material. So in order to be safe against the material we have selected, all the materials which are manufactured, we cannot say 100% equal quality for each and every material. There might be some possibility and probability of a reduced load carrying capacity of a material. That is why the partial safety factor is given for the material. There are two safety factors, one for load and the another for material. So now M in the terms of material. So material load safety factor. If we are designing for each and every section, we can take the safety factor for the member. Right now we are going for resistance of yielding and resistance of buckling. If you are designing for ultimate stress, you can take 1.25 as partial safety factor. And if you are designing the connections, that is bolted connection, rivet or weld, you can take the respective partial safety factor. Right now we are designing for the yield section, hence we are taking 1.1 as the safety factor, that is material safety factor. Now let us check the shear carrying capacity of our section. We know that this formula came from Vn divided by gamma M. Vn divided by gamma M. We already know that Vn is nominal shear, that is AVFY divided by root 3. So let us merge these two formula, you will be getting like this. Now you know that the depth of the web is 1420 and the thickness of the web is 20 mm and yield strength of the steel in that member will be 250 divided by root 3, that is gamma is 1.1. Everything we have substituted in terms of Newton and mm square. In order to get the values in terms of kilonewton, let us divide this value by 1000, that is 10 power 3. Okay, if you substitute that, you will be getting the value of 3730 as the shear carrying capacity of the member. So we know that the shear due to the load, earlier you can go through that, the shear due to the load is 800 kilonewton. Now our section is having a capacity of 3730 kilonewton. It is far greater than the shear force, hence our section is safe against the shear force. The code gives the suggestion of checking the shear force and the design shear carrying capacity of the section is satisfied here. Yes. Right now let us check the moment carrying capacity of the section. The guideline says that MD, that is design moment carrying capacity. We already know that the moment which is acting by the load is 4000 kilonewton meter. Let us check the moment carrying capacity of the section we have designed. So the formula is given in code book. Yes, in the class 8.2.1.2, when the factor design force does not exceed 0.6 VD, that is design shear, where VD is design shear strength of the cross section, the design bending strength MD, that is design bending strength, shall be taken as MD equal to beta ZP F divided by gamma M. Here the beta can be taken as, for we are designing for plastic and compact section, hence we will be taking this value as 1, and ZP we have to find out, that is plastic section modulus, and Fy we know that 250 and gamma M is 1.1. So by this equation let us check for the moment carrying capacity of the section. So we already know this. Beta will be 1. And for finding the ZP, what is ZP? Is plastic section modulus. Z is section modulus, and how to find that. So in this drawing you can see that there are, for this whole section you need to find the ZP. So there are two members, that is web and the flange. So let us find the section modulus of the flange first. That is breadth into thickness. Breadth of flange is 350 and thickness of flange is 40 mm. So if you multiply this 2 into breadth of flange is 350, thickness of flange is 40 and d minus thickness of flange. So you will be getting 1460. We have considered only one flange. If you divide this, you will be getting the centroid and the distance of the single flange. So from the centroid, the section modulus will be at this distance. So for that we are dividing it by 2 plus thickness of web. So for the web component, the thickness of web will be 20 and the depth of web is d square. So 1420 square divided by 4. So if you need further detail how to find the section modulus, this will come under. So if you can identify the moment of inertia, you can easily calculate the section modulus. You can check my earlier lecture series. You can check the link here for getting the clarity of how to find the moment of inertia and the section modulus. Okay. If you multiply that and simplifying, you will be getting 30.52 into 10 power 6 mm cube. So this is the plastic section modulus. Okay, now we got ZP. So the value substituted here into 250, that is Fy divided by 1.1 into 10 power 6. We are making the value in terms of kilonewton meter. Right now all the values in Newton mm, and in order to make into kilonewton meter we have multiplied by 10 power 6. So the value will be 6936 kilonewton meter. This is the moment carrying capacity of the section. So the moment due to the load is 4000 kilonewton meter, hence it is greater than the external force. Safe. Okay. So there are two forces, that is shear and moment. We have checked the capacity of the structure also, it is far greater than the external force, hence our section will be safe. Okay, this is the last section, this is stiffener design. So at the end of the plate girder, you can see that this is a pier, which I earlier said that in this pier there will be a bearing plate, and at the end of the plate girder you will be having a end bearing stiffener. All the loads which are carried by the girder is being transferred at this particular point. So this is the pier, the load from the beam will be transferred through this point. So here the member has to have a higher resistance. So hence we are providing a end bearing stiffener. So this stiffener bears the load which is acting in the section. So the whole load will be transferring through this particular area only. That is why we are providing this member. So is it essential to provide this end bearing stiffener? So code gives a suggestion. So when a web of the member acting along that is without stiffener proves inadequate. So let us check for that. If it is inadequate, you have to provide the following stiffeners. If you can prove that this is adequate to carry, then this end bearing stiffener is not required. The stiffeners for meeting the following requirement should be provided. So the below you are having different types of stiffener, that is intermediate, transverse web stiffener, load carrying stiffener, bearing stiffener, etc. So in further lectures we will be discussing in detail regarding this. So let us check for the end bearing stiffener. So let us assume a width of the support as 350 mm and the minimum bearing length provided by the support will be B by 2, that is 175 mm. So what do you mean by this is, right now we are assuming the width of bearing is 350 mm, so we are assuming the center part. So from the center you are having a 175 mm distance. So this is the minimum stiff bearing length provided by the support. So let us check for this. So bearing stiffeners should be provided for a web where the forces through a flanges by load or reaction exceed the local carrying capacity of the web at the connection to the flange. This is FW. How to find this? There is an equation for this, that is B1 plus N2 multiplied by thickness of web and the yield stress of the web divided by gamma m. So FW will be force which is acting on the web. Okay. So we know that B1 is the stiff bearing length. So the stiff bearing length we have already found out as 175 mm. So what do you mean by N2? N2 is the length obtained by the dispersion through the flange of the web junction at the slope of 1:2.5 to the plate of the flange. So see, the load will be transferred from this web to this flange. So the load will be dispersed at a particular triangle. It will be distributed. So the angle of distribution is assumed as 1:2.5. Okay. So by this we can say that the thickness of the web is 40 if the ratio we are taking it as 2.5, and let us multiply 2.5 into 40 will be 100 mm. Okay. So the local shear carrying capacity of the web will be B1 is 175 and the load distribution distance is 100 mm, and the thickness of the web we know that 20 and Fy is 250 and gamma m will be 1.1. If you multiply and simplify this, you will be getting 1250 into 10 power 3 in terms of Newton, that is 1250 kilonewton. Now this is the shear carrying capacity of the web which we have designed. So the shear which is acting is 800 kilonewtons, lesser than the shear carrying capacity of the web. Hence the bearing stiffeners are not required. So we proved, first we have designed the depth of web and the thickness of the flange. Then we have designed the thickness of the web, and also we have identified the width of the flange. Then we have checked for the relation which is given in IS 800, and we proved that due to the shear and bending, this section is safe against the two forces according to the guideline. Hence our design will be final. I hope you enjoyed this lecture and got some knowledge. Happy learning. See you again. Thank you.